Beneath the swirling tides of purple and gold upheaval, a storm brews quietly in the heart of the Lakers' front court, a $51 million question mark named Rui Hachimura, whose fate may well redefine the team's soul heading into the unforgiving crucible of the 2025-26 season. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with purple and gold passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. The Lakers, a franchise steeped in Showtime brilliance and etched forever by Kobe and Shaq's dominant three-peat and the relentless grit of the 2010 back-to-back, plus the miraculous bubble championship of 2020, now find themselves navigating yet another labyrinthine chapter in their storied legacy. The offseason chatter has been deafening after flipping D'Angelo Russell for the stalwart Dorian Finney-Smith and orchestrating the seismic acquisition of five-time All-NBA first-team guard Luka Doncic alongside Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris. In a jaw-dropping trade that sent Anthony Davis and a prized draft pick to Dallas, the Lakers appear poised to rewrite contender status in the West, but the sands keep shifting. The likes of Finney-Smith have slipped through the net into Houston's rising grasp, while rookies like Adu Thero and strategic acquisitions such as DeAndre Ayton, who supplanted the enigmatic re-signing of Jackson Hayes' Marcus Smart, the defensive titan, and the floor spacer Jake LaRavia have incrementally redefined the rotation. Yet, despite these bold maneuvers, the Lakers are still caught in a web of defensive inconsistency, especially on the perimeter, a vulnerability that threatens to erode championship ambitions in a loaded Western Conference packed with hungry contenders. Enter Rui Hachimura, a 6'8" forward with a sturdy $17 million cap hit who embodies both hope and headache. Starting last season at the 3 spot yet playing the power forward battleground, Hachimura's 13.1 points per game on highly efficient shooting splits, .509 FG%, 4.133 PT%, .77 OFT, paired with moderate averages of 5 rebounds and 1.4 assists. Across 59 healthy outings, paint the picture of a capable contributor. Yet the glaring chink remains his inconsistency on the boards and defensively, a persistent weakness that exposes a porous front line in a conference where every possession is a war. The Lakers brass, led by Rob Pelinka and his well-documented front office calculus, are clearly weighing this reality. As reported by Clutch Point's R.B. Hyatt, Hachimura's contract and skill set make him a prime trade candidate, especially if the Lakers aim to pivot towards more dominant interior presence, or consolidate salary to pursue a top-tier star capable of anchoring a title run. But here's the under-the-radar bomb no one saw coming. The scenario to trade Hachimura hinges less on his individual flaws and more on a chessboard move to unlock a roster makeover that accommodates dominant rebounders and rim protectors players. Who can transform this Lakers squad from a talented fringe contender into a legitimate finals threat? The Lakers already boast sharpshooters and creators in LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves, so swapping Hachimura's floor spacing for gritty, tough interior toughness might be deemed a necessary sacrifice. However, trading a Japanese-born star who recently immersed himself in unconventional off-season rituals, training with sumo wrestlers, traveling internationally to the UK, and revisiting his roots in Toyama adds an emotional layer to the calculus, drawing into focus the cultural and locker room dynamics at play. Can the Lakers really part ways with a young, still developing forward who carries not only scoring touch but a unique global marketability and a symbol of the franchise's modern diversity? And what of the ripple effects on team chemistry, leadership, and the locker room ecology that have been painstakingly nurtured alongside marquee names? These are questions that keep Lakers fans up at night, especially when the alternative involves trading assets like Max Christie or untapped potential in draft capital resources that have long fueled the purple and gold's historic success. But dig deeper and consider the broader salary cap chessboard. Hachimura's $17 million contract looms as a flexible bargaining chip, One that could allow Pelinka to absorb a marquee talent's contract or sweeten a blockbuster deal if the stars align before the trade deadline or in the looming buyout market frenzy. The Lakers are at a crossroads where safeguarding the legacies of LeBron and Doncic demands ruthless roster optimization. Every dollar, every minute, every role player must slot perfectly into a championship puzzle. Yet, with all this talk swirling, the ultimate mystery remains: is Hachimura's potential trade the ignition point for a revamped Lakers juggernaut, a catalyst that finally pushes LA back into the hallowed corridors of NBA supremacy? Or is it the fissure that fractures a roster still in search of true identity and cohesion, undermining years of strategic planning tethered to youthful promise and veteran stability? As a lifelong Lakers believer, my pulse is racing just writing. There's an electric charge in the air that hints at upheaval, reinvention, and a battle for destiny unlike any in recent memory. What do you think, purple and gold faithful? Is Rui Hachimura the missing piece in another piece's shadow? Or is he the piece we should fight hardest to keep as this team storms toward its next championship dream? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand, ready to debate the future of our beloved Lakers as this drama unfolds on and off the court. A lightning bolt shatters the twilight sky over Crypto.com arena, and my chest tightens like the final seconds of a buzzer beater that could rewrite every rule we hold sacred, because that's exactly what Rui Hachimura represents right now. A thunderclap of potential wrapped in uncertainty, vibrating through the very marrow of this purple and gold formula. You can taste the tension, thick and electric, wafting from the hardwood up into the stands and seeping into every corner of LA's smog-dusted skyline. Because make no mistake, this isn't just a trade rumor, it's a tectonic shift threatening to fracture the fragile chemistry that clutch moments are born from. Imagine the locker room, thick with unspoken questions. LeBron, the king whose every move reverberates like history's echo, locking eyes with Luka Doncic, the maverick craftsman whose arrival promised to reset the balance of power both of. Then staring across a chessboard where Rui is the wild card, the variable nobody saw fully mapping out. It's one thing to flip assets and projections, but trading a cultural beacon like Hachimura risks opening a cavernous crack beneath the foundations of identity and trust. You feel it in the quiet moments before tip-off, the way Marcus Smart's defensive harangues slice through the purple smoke of pregame rituals, or the way DeAndre Ayton hulks under the rim, demanding respect in a conference that's getting quicker and meaner by the night. The Western Gauntlet is not a rumor. It's a ravenous beast circling and snapping a Denver squad with its scars and swagger. A Phoenix team blossoming with relentless hunger, and the Clippers still grinding with a poison in their veins, fueled by past near misses. And the Warriors? They're quietly sharpening their knives, choosing when to strike based on our missteps. Rui, at his best, fills a niche as a floor-spacing forward who doesn't shy from contact, but somehow falters under the unforgiving weight of interior combat and defensive rotations. Growing pains turn glaring weaknesses when the stakes skyrocket. But here's the blind side no one's shouting about. Pelinka's calculus isn't just dollars in defense. It's a gambit soaked in high risk and raw ambition, a move aimed at unshackling this roster from cap hell to potentially unlock a seismic trade or luring a buyout star whose arrival might send tremors through the title race. And that's where the pulse quickens. What if this very trade, this pivot away from Rui, fuels the arrival of a dominant rebounder with shot-blocking artistry, a modern-day Shaq energy to take the minutes that could shrink LeBron's load and forge a new defensive identity? But then, the haunting counterpunch. At what cost? Because peeling away Hachimura stabs deeper than balance sheets. It unsettles locker room equilibrium, testing veteran buy-in and rookie faith. Max Christie, once heralded as a silent assassin in waiting, becomes a price tag on the chopping block, or perhaps the caged asset sacrificed on the altar of win now. Every passing whisper of potential draft pick targets not a player, but a future that might slip through our fingers. reframed as collateral damage in the gladiatorial arena of NBA politics. You can almost hear the stale echoes of Showtime's golden days, a reminder that championships are won in moments when trust becomes unbreakable. Chains binding a team's soul, but what happens when the chain frays, when a single link is traded? Away? Will LeBron, the ultimate general, absorb this shakeup with the serenity carved by years of battle? Or will the wear reveal fractures in a legacy already bruised by the relentless march of time? And where does Luka fit in this equation? That once-in-a-generation talent whose partnership with LeBron could either ignite a dynastic blaze or smolder into a combustible keg of egos and unmet expectations. The gamble isn't just about rebounds or spacing. It's a full-scale experiment in identity, and you feel the nerve endings firing in the stands and the locker room alike, a collective breath hailing and hitching all at once. But what if the gamble backfires? Imagine the thunderous pyrotechnics of fan bar arguments spilling over into palpable doubt, a faction of purple and gold loyalists rallying behind the hope that Rui can morph his weaknesses into strength verses. A faction convinced the team must shed emotional baggage to evolve. At the intersection of global marketing and on-court dynamism, Rui's presence is a bridge no franchise can easily replicate. A mainstay in LA's cultural tapestry, reflecting a city and team straining to expand its horizon beyond the hardwood highlights. His off-season pilgrimage through sumo traditions and ancestral pilgrimage isn't just headline fodder. It's the visible pulse of a player forging resilience and mindset beyond the NBA grind. That emotional gravity may tip a fragile scale in his favor among players and fans who see him as more than just stats, but as a symbol of transformation and hope. So when the front office brings offers and counteroffers, what rules the final verdict? The cold calculus of championship windows or the incendiary heartbeats of legacy and market identity? You can almost hear the hum of panic under the arena. Lights on nights when the Lakers struggle on perimeter defense. Every blown rotation a dagger twisting in the gut. The crowd's roars turning toward anxious murmurs, sensing vulnerability in a team that demands perfection. Meanwhile, rookies like Adu Tiro, rising into roles with raw passion, scan the bench for signs of a future, shaken or strengthened by the moves above. And somewhere in a Los Angeles morning haze, Pelinka and his brain trust weigh every angle in silence, knowing one move can cascade into a season lost to what-ifs and near misses. But here's the clause in that deal nobody's talking about. Any trade that involves Hachimura could trigger a domino effect on luxury tax implications. So volatile it might give the Whisper network in front offices across the league a collective case of whiplash. The Lakers might be forced into maneuverings that strip away depth or force a buyer's remorse scenario by midseason, when injuries and mounting pressure sharpen every flaw. Yet the silver lining, the glint in the swirling maelstrom, lies in the intoxicating possibility that shedding this imperfect piece could lure in a defensive titan with rim protection so ferocious it transforms the Lakers from a team with holes into a fortress. Imagine a season where LeBron's minutes dwindle to explosive bursts. Luka orchestrates with the freedom of a maestro, unburdened by overwork, and the defensive rotations morph into a ballroom dance of precision and intimidation. It's a seductive vision, and yet the tension remains cutthroat. Because every move towards that fantasy risks unraveling not just a roster, but the very psyche of the franchise, the intangible chemistry forged in the crucible of victory and defeat. As a Laker till I draw my last breath, I can feel the earthquake rumbling under the season. Now tell me what's rattling your soul, because the firestorm hasn't even peaked.